Alright everybody, welcome back to Friday Night Magic at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. I am Zachary Evans. I am joined now by Brett Rose.
How are you folks doing?
Brett's 3-0 tonight, drawing into the top 8. You're watching round 4, where we have two and one competitors, so the classic win-and-in scenario. On your right, we have Drew Scherr playing Bant Pod. He played, I think, last week against Scotty Wright. Oh, maybe been 2 weeks ago, but he's playing a pretty interesting Bant Pod deck, which includes Drogskull Reaver and Elder Scale Worm. Anytime we can see Elder Scale Worm on camera, it's pretty good. And then on your left is Garrett Meadows. He's playing a Bant control deck. I'm not entirely sure what the exact list is, but from looking over his deck before the round, Borderland Rangers, Thragtusks, basically a mid-range deck.
It's kind of the Vincer bounce type deal.
Did you play him earlier?
Yeah.
Did you beat him earlier with Infect?
Yes. 2-0.
Yeah, well, I don't imagine he has a lot of spot removal.
Yeah, he started to get the lockdown, and I got lucky.
Well, I guess since you're not playing on feature camera, we can bring up the whoops, not wolf token. We can bring the life totals back.
They matter now.
Yeah, they do matter. Slightly off center, isn't it? Alright. So as we see, Drew leads off with the Viridian Emissary, which is Phantasmal Imaged.
Little trade.
Phantasmal Image is such a versatile card. It's not something I will be too upset to see leave Standard after M11 rotates, or M12 rotates, I should say. But I recently put it in my cube. It's just so much utility. There's so many creatures in Magic that have those 187 effects, as they call them. You know, they enter the battlefield triggers.
Yeah.
And it's just 2 mana just for even if it's pretty fragile, but 2 mana for your choice of whatever the best creature is.
It didn't seem to get a whole lot of play when it first came out, but it's definitely seen its heydays here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's played a little bit in those mono blue illusions decks, and then it's been played in a variety of Sun Titan chain decks, and
yeah, whenever people figure
every blue deck wants it. Yeah,
Yeah.
just playing mono Phantasmal Images.
It's a solid strategy.
Yeah. Well, it helped. I mean, I don't know exactly. Is it Thragtusk?
Yeah.
Yep. Seems good.
He goes up to 25.
He does. They're not using the dice, but doesn't matter because Drew uses his phone. So as long as there's some kind of technology, pen and paper will work as well, as long as you write big enough and don't write on a white piece of paper. For whatever reason, blue ink on a white piece of paper is just can't see it. Just too much glare.
Yeah, I remember whenever Max and Vickers were writing stuff on the paper thinking we could read it.
They thought they were being very clever and making little jokes, none of which we actually saw.
So how nice would it be to have those images right now?
Pretty good, but I guess if his draw was somewhat land light, being able to cycle those images for land is pretty useful. Well, minor technical adjustment. Did you, Drew was on camera, I don't know if it was last week or the week prior. I think it was the week prior, but Drew played on camera. Did you watch that match, or were you in here for that match?
I would have been playing.
I think it might have been round 4, so you might have been drawing in.
Okay.
But his deck has a lot of shenanigans in it. It has some cards that I've not really, not to use jargon or to downgrade his deck, but it's not necessarily the tier 1 cards you would expect to see. But they certainly did work.
What killed off the Thragtusk? He blocked with a bird.
He potted it away. He has a pod
okay.
down here hiding in his
Oh,
hand.
I see it now.
Mm-hmm. So Sun Titan is very good.
He aims to create an insurmountable board state, which he's definitely got a lead on here.
So he drops to 21 off of casting and activation of the pod. Do you know if Garrett's deck has Wrath of God in it? Or
It has effects.
if it has Wrath of God in it, it's illegal. It doesn't have Day of Judgment.
I know he was playing at least one of the UPK. Well, there we go.
There's a 100% chance he has a Day of Judgment in his deck. Now that we see it. But that's, I guess, what separates him from the mid-range deck is he is playing sweepers.
Yeah.
So what's his high end? Is he playing Frost Titans? Is he playing Sun Titans? He has to be playing Sun
Titans, yeah. I saw Sun Titans, I saw Vincers, I saw the dude who locks you out for a combat phase.
Loxodon. Oh, he's playing that deck, the Blink deck they talked about. The Loxodon,
yeah.
Not Loxodon Hierarch. Stonehorn Dignitary.
That's it.
Yeah, so in case anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, Stonehorn Dignitary is a 1/4 for 3 and a white, that when it comes into play, your opponent skips their next combat phase, so with Vincer or Restoration Angels, you can lock them out. He Drew casts Acidic Slime, takes that Sun Petal Grove, and he's cycling that away for, I imagine, another Sun Titan.
Does he only have one island?
He has one island.
Huh. Wonder if he should have gone for
that. There's a chance that, well, oh, you're talking about Drew.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Garrett when he was searching lands with Emissary. Yeah, so that's the card. I don't know what it is. It's like an angel. We saw this a couple weeks ago. It's an angel that, like, I think gains life when creatures come to play.
Yeah, the two or 1 life for each creature in play.
So, do you have any idea what its name is or what stats it has?
I do not. I think it's Gold Knight Retriever, maybe?
Gold Knight, maybe, could it be Gold Knight Redeemer?
Yes.
If anyone in the chat knows what that card is and would like to fire away, feel free. It's not Gold Knight Commander, is it?
No. It had a Redeemer on there.
Okay. We're using the powers. We are using the powers of internet.
I didn't know we had that here.
We recently got it. So back to the game. We see him get in with that Redeemer, and now he's going to pot it away for, I think his 7 drops are Elder Scale Worm and Elshanorn. At this point, I imagine Norn is pretty good, right?
Yeah, because he's nowhere near being...
No, I stand corrected. Drogspell Reaver. Very exciting.
Because he just does fun stuff.
Yeah, we saw this game. He ended up losing that match that was on in the archives 2 weeks ago to Scotty Wright, but he ultimately did just a lot. That Drogskull Reaver did a lot of work. Drew him 1,000,000 cards. It's very hard to remove in combat. Plus, since Drew is playing images, he made infinite copies of that Reaver because it's not legendary. Sorry.
Multiple activations are nice.
Yeah.
He's a double striker, so he can block.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because the trigger comes into play anytime you gain life. It's not just when he does damage. So it turns all your Thagtus into cantrips.
Yeah. It
turns your Gold Knight Redeemer into maybe I imagine that's exactly why he's playing that card because that's a pretty interesting.
So cantrip, that's some fun jargon you have going on there.
That's an old jargon though. That's from back in the day. And while we've got the chance here, while they're there, I have pulled up the Gold Knight Redeemer. As you can see, it's a 4/4 flyer for 6 that when it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each other creature you control. So that's the card he's currently, or he used to get the Reaver.
It looks like he's trying to pot up to get either another one or...
I apologize, I've been neglecting the life total slightly as I've been obsessed with this Gold Knight Redeemer. Oh, how much do I love the Mimic Vat?
That's a heart crusher.
I've talked about it numerous times, but...
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, this is pretty rough, because even if he has another day type effect, he's not going to be able to beat that Vat.
Yeah.
And he recognizes it.
There's
the game 1 handshake. It's a
classic.
Well, just to reset, for those of you just joining us, or those of you who did not see previous rounds, we are live from Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. This is a Friday Night Standard, the last Standard tournament or the last Friday Night Magic tournament of this expiring standard format. So, much like Brett is lamenting the loss of his Infect cards, we're seeing a lot of other format staples rotating out. So, everyone's getting their last go around with the Scars of Mirrodin block. Tomorrow we have pretty exciting Return to Ravnica pre-release.
That's I'm sure that's going to have record attendance.
Across the board, yeah, we've already talked about tonight that, as I realize now that this says round 4, there's a lot of stuff to update. A lot of stuff going on. I'm supposed to be the on-screen talent. I'm not supposed to be the behind-the-scenes producer here.
Are you also doing round? Like 1 win to...
I'm doing that, yep.
Okay.
But, excuse me, but we were talking about how there's actually a pretty interesting phenomenon going on right now, which is that I guess there's a pretty short run on the production of the Return to Ravnica. And so there are some people, well, there's already people turning people away from pre-releases because they're capping it at 40 or whatnot. There are some stores, I mean, we're fortunate, we live in an area where, well, I think there's a pretty vibrant Magic community. We don't really ever run to the top end. I mean, I think for Innistrad we had about as many as we ever had, and we had just under 40.
Yeah.
And while I expect we have a pretty good turnout tomorrow, I don't think we'll have to turn anybody away. But in some of the larger locations, they are turning people away, and they don't have enough product to do additional events. So there's some talking, back and forth about that, doing a certain amount of a low print run is good because it generates hype. It generates, you want it. It's supply and demand kind of thing. But then again, like pre-release is when you're supposed to be, it's a pretty big advertisement for Magic as a brand. You want new players to come and play. It's a very casual thing.
Yeah, I would think the last thing you would want would be to turn people away.
So for those of you in the chat who are watching, just curious. We've got one viewer who's going to, looks like Matt Elliott, will be in Charlottesville tonight playing the pre-release at midnight. Very curious as to what guild everyone is choosing. Brett, what are you doing? Are you going to play tomorrow? Well, you're going to be on the road tomorrow.
Yeah.
But assuming you're playing tomorrow, what guild would you pick?
I would be Ravnica.
Ravnica?
Ravnica.
Ravnica is the...
Rakdos was the word I meant to say.
Well, here's what's funny about that, is I didn't know if you were just making a really clever joke about I would pick Magic cards as my
all of them.
Ravnica, probably go Innistrad, but Rakdos. Okay, I'm playing Rakdos too. I told JB, I guess we're picking 3 guilds in case there is not enough, so I went Rakdos, then Azorius, then Golgari. Not necessarily based on my preferences, although I would be more of a Rakdos guy, but I think Rakdos just has the best card pool.
I think they have the best chance for a strong standard deck. I'm not saying they're going to have the best deck, but I definitely think they're going to be, if not top tier, right next to it. Honestly, I believe Golgari is probably going to be the best.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the cards that I've seen that if I had to pick guilds based on the cards that will show up in standard archetypes in the next 3 to 4 months at the top tables of big events, you're right. It'd be Golgari cards like Abrupt Decay and Lotless Troll, or Azorius cards like Detention Sphere and Supreme Verdict. But for a slow sealed format, if you really want to try to metagame, I think...
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that all the most aggressive creatures and the limited removal that's in the formats in Rakdos. So.
Yeah.
Plus, I like to beat down. I mean, it's the closest I can get to mono red.
The Golgari mechanic just screams to me amazing for limited. Scavenge is just, it takes any creature that dies and makes it stupid big.
I see that Matt doesn't seem to be aware on the chat, and just for those of you who are also watching, for this pre-release, you actually get to pick a guild, and then when you choose that guild, you receive a booster pack for that specific guild that will only have cards from that guild color in it. So
it's the whole pool.
Huh?
It's the whole pool, isn't it?
I don't think it's the whole pool. It's just one pack. It will have a promo card, which you can use. This is the first one you can actually use. So, yep, you have to pick a guild, so figure out which one. Should be Golgari, Rakdos, or Azorius, I think. Meanwhile, they're playing Magic. We're not paying attention. We've just seen each player develop a board with some mana guys. Garrett's just explaining the interaction between Fiend Hunter and Phantasmal Image. So, Yeah, you get 5 regular packs of Return to Ravnica, and then your 6-pack is your
Okay.
guild specific. And it's not a normal pack, not just in the sense that it has only the guild cards in it, but also the land card, and that is your guild gate, which I think is neat.
The gates are a really cool idea.
Gates are pretty cool. They are common.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're uncommon in Invasion. The exact same card fundamentally was an uncommon, so can't say there's no power creep.
You can go all kinds of um, collars in limited.
Yes, yeah, it's like the old Ravnica Limited was. You can basically play whatever you want to.
I didn't play back then, so I'm not real familiar. But
Yeah, I didn't play either, but I just hear everyone talk about how amazing that format was as we see Drew O-Ring. Was that a Borderland Ranger? We'll never know. So Garrett drops to 18. Drew's at 19. Oh, Day of Judgment. That should be pretty good. Drew does not nearly have the... I think he forgot to Rampant Growth.
Yep.
You gotta remember your triggers, kids. There's some discussion in the chat about is it as a guild. I think a lot of the pros. I think the higher tier players generally like the blue and red combination. That's a very popular. If you actually, it's very interesting. If you go to your Planeswalker point page, you can choose a guild. I think tonight is actually the last night you can do it and still earn those theoretical badges and stuff. That's more of a casual thing, but there are clearly more top tier Izzet players than anyone else. There's more Izzet. It's a very popular. It's clearly the most popular one. I don't think the pool is that good, but
the list they put out today on guilds and how they thought they were going to stack up had Golgari at the bottom. I think Izzet may have been just above them. They had Azorius at the very top, and I think Rakdos.
Everything I've seen is Azorius and Rakdos. Yesterday they had the Wizards of the Coast employee pre-release event, and all of the 4 O's were Rakdos. Yeah. So that may just be based on player selection. Aaron Forsythe's a good player, so maybe he just picked Rakdos because he won because he's a good player. But is that a Brutalizer Exarch?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to have to go deep into the well here. I think it's search your library for a creature and put it in your hand, or put target non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library.
Yeah.
So it's like half of a Primal Command. Right? Aren't those 2 things you can do with Primal Command?
I'm actually not familiar with Primal Command. I remember Primal Bellows.
You would remember a pump spell, wouldn't you?
I do love Pump.
You do love Pump. So you tutor for it and then put it on top of your deck. So he goes for Sun Titan so that he can chain and get his image. So Drew's in a spot here. Last game he took over with that pod, and then he had inevitability with the Mimic Vat, but he doesn't have nearly that same kind of draw. So what's he telling here? When you look at your graveyard, it's usually a tell of something. Tapping 4,
5.
Acidic Slime. Taking out the dual land. I mean, Garrett's mana base is pretty well developed here. I think he's got... Wait, does he not have any green now?
No, right under the island.
Okay, so that's
I think so. Looks like.
We've been battling Glare all night, more so than usual, so I apologize for that. Usually I've got it pegged pretty well. So this is pretty
solid.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty brutal. He's going to blink that, and then he's going to put the O-ring on top of its lap. Oh, is it bottom?
Apparently it is bottom.
So that's pretty fun.
The picking a card to play with.
Yeah, Brett's talking about in the chat where someone's brought up that not necessarily thrilled with the idea of getting to pick a card that goes in your pool automatically because, like I said, the promo card for each, the giveaway promo card for each guild, since it is guild specific, they've decided that this time you can put that in your deck. So that's the first time that it's the first time JB won't have to walk around and explain to everyone that they can't jam the Shieldred right into their deck.
And I'm not going to be here to troll that. I feel really bad.
That's the worst thing. Well, that's what you get for having friends and having to go to weddings. If you just don't have any friends, you never get invited to any weddings.
I'm thinking that's the way to go.
Yeah. There's a lot of value to be gained in friendless existence.
Yeah.
So now we're in a situation here where Drew is chasing that Venser activation every turn. With just the one acidic slime, he's not going to be able to push through. And this is the Sun Titan, right?
Yeah.
I wonder what it's getting. Oh, surprise. It's best friend. Oh, even more value. Draw a card. Didn't see what it was.
Wonder what gets bounced here.
That one.
Yeah, I guess from this point on, you just fetch whatever you want.
Yeah, he can just get that whatever specific answer he wants. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
You don't just make him skip his combat.
Oh, that's actually good. Yeah, I forgot that he had that lock in there. Oop.
Also solid.
Oh, that's very fun. So Drew metamorphs. Garrett Sun Titan brings back a Fiend Hunter. Gets rid of the Sun Titan. How cruel is that he copies his card and then immediately gets rid of it. It was all fair for a while. Everybody had a Sun Titan. Peace, harmony.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, people are just throwing them out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like it doesn't even matter
Again,
anymore.
that's why I recommend a friendless existence, because then you don't have to worry about stepping on anybody's toes.
I'm going to remember that.
It's good life advice. Don't say we never learned you nothing about living in this here America. This is I think it's very interesting that these decks are very similar. They're both playing the Sun Titan chains, they're both playing the same colors, but the decks are drastically different, not just in terms of the fact that one has birthing paws and one doesn't, but, all of their one-ofs are very, very different too.
Yeah, they both seek to kind of get to an overwhelming state faster than the other person can, and one person playing mana dorks and just cards that have enter the battlefield in as much flash as you possibly can, and the other's just trying to draw his deck and gain as much life as you
So
can.
did he play that Phantasmal Image? Oh.
No, he played the Visionary, I think.
So that's pretty awesome. He blinks his Exarch, he days, gets rid of the Fiend Hunter, gets his own Sun Titan back, gets back the same chain as he got last time. Then end of turn, his Exarch's going to phase back in. Pretty drastic turn out of
Saucy.
Garrett. It's a nice play. And he's going to image...
Image the image?
Yeah, getting the... So, pretty exciting. Exarch comes back. I almost said Exciser, and not only is that not a magic card, I don't think that's a word.
What is it?
Exciser?
No.
Well, there?
There's incisors.
That is true. So is there, first of all, he's got lethal on board, right? So what can Drew play that will keep him from...
The Reaver would be...
Well, Drag Tusk puts him up to 24. Yeah, Reaver's good too. I see he has a Redeemer in his hand again, but he's in the position where he can only do once a turn. One a turn.
Put an image on top there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he can just send everything in with an answer. I always forget he has a second ability that's not.
So will he just win there? So that's 18. How big is the Exarch?
I think he's a 1/4.
He's a 1/4? To the internet. If anyone knows on the...
They're chatting in there. I don't think they're paying any attention to us. 3/3.
So he drops down to 12. It is a 3/3. So could he have won? He had 22. No, he had 22 damage, so he could not have won with the Venser ultimate. But Venser's ultimate is at 8, right? So he's going to get the emblem next turn?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good, right? Vindicate seems to be like a pretty good spell. Unlimited Vindicate seems to be even better.
attack on Vindicate to
how
every
about this
spell.
super greedy play? Can you get a Tameo emblem, then Vincer's emblem? So just every spell is just you have one ponder and it just becomes infinite Vindicates.
Yeah, that would be
What
living the
about
dream.
what about one gut shot, or in your case, mutagenic growth? Just pay 2 life, Vindicate everything forever. Seems like a good board state. Writing seems to be on the wall here, and I believe they have figured that out as well. So, with about, I think, 15 minutes left in the round, these gentlemen go to game 3. As lopsided as the first game was in Drew's favor, the second game was comparably lopsided
In
in
Garrett's,
Garrett's favor.
he just needs the sweeps. That seems to be the play here.
Yeah, someone was talking about the acidic slime. They figured it out. Someone wondered why, when Drew cast the acidic slime, why he didn't bin Vincer. But then he realized that acidic slime is not mold shambler, and that it's illegal to do that with acidic slime. So
He could have, yeah.
he could have it. Would have been illegal. So, but yeah, while these guys shuffle up, this is a win and in round. These two gentlemen are 2-1. They will likely need to win to make it to top 8. Although we only have 17 runners now. So, drawing into top 8, Brett Rose, who I'm currently joined with, and who was your opponent?
It was a Miss Megan.
Megan Berger, so Brian Berger's wife.
Yes.
You guys are both the only 3-0s. Sam Swisher is 2-0-1, so he could theoretically draw in as well. Cliff Markham, he's playing Cliff Markham, also in 6 points. Max Turner, who we saw in round 1 playing elves, he is 2-1, needs a win. He is playing against one James B. Roberts, shop proprietor here at Lost Legion. So JB plays whenever there is an odd number of individuals. So they are both on 2-0 or 2-1.
Fun fact about JB's deck: mono black. I saw it go ultimate with Liliana of the Dark Realms, and he then used the Diabolical Revelations, the one with 5 and X to search out X cards, and he just searched out his deck. Apparently producing 40 mana a turn is pretty good.
It is pretty good. As we see some of our stream patrons, we are up to 7 on the stream. Very close to our all-time record, which is a smooth 10 even at one point last week. We had 10 people watching this.
I assume they were all waiting to hear from me on here.
They were. Actually, what happens is like about this time, some people have gone home and they're watching us now. Yes, we've now degraded to where we're using puns in the chat, which I will not repeat for posterity. So, and while they're shuffling up, I don't know if we've done it so far earlier in a round, but every round we start with a rock, paper, scissors duel, and if you want to have your own play set, what do you need to do? It's very simple. Brett Rose has done it. You follow me on Twitter, @ZachSellsMagic. You retweet over the course of the next week any of the things that I tweet about the stream, then you'll be entered in it for a chance to win. Tonight, stream commentator in the past and shop local Jordan Peckjo won.
Oh, did he?
He's our first local winner, which wasn't hard because if I look at this list of 8 people, all but 2 of them are in this room or in this building right now.
I keep
Except for
forgetting to post that.
We have one. We have one former Matt who's in the chat, but he basically counts as a shop guy because he used to print this before he graduate from med school and then start my life and be productive member of society. What a loser!
That was total crap.
You know what's more important than even the advice about living life friendless? Don't go work. Moving away, working a lot of hours. Gosh, you know what's better than that? Anything.
Yeah.
Ben and Jerry's and a copy of Cosmopolitan magazine. That's a good day right there.
Yeah, I read Cosmopolitan once. Still not sure that some of the things he said were anatomically possible.
Well, if you read it on the internet, it has to be true. More importantly, back to the action. Drew has resolved a turn 3 birthing pod. Um, do you know if Garrett's playing Oblivion Ring? I haven't seen any.
He is. He at
Oh,
least
did
has
he
some
play
stock.
one earlier? He may have played one earlier than that. I can't remember.
I know Drew did. I don't think I ever saw one from
But
Garrett.
I guess he can have access to acidic slime. And if he doesn't have access to acidic slime, he can always wait for Drew to play one and then image it. Right now he's playing Mono Bird of Paradise. So he has all the manas and nothing to do with it. So we see a 4-drop from Drew, which is a Solemn. And his relentless quest for every mana possible.
I've never played a deck that was heavy on lands. I can only imagine that it's not that fun.
Well, you gotta have lands to cast your spells. That's something I've heard about. It's one of the many Tier 1 strategy tips that we try to provide our viewers with on a weekly basis. But drawing land is often the worst thing. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. That's why new players are so... There's a period of time where new players are just screwed because they refuse to put the correct number of lands in their deck because drawing lands sucks. You know what you want in your deck more than lands? Awesome cards. So you show up with 20 lands to an FNM, and then you never draw your third land, and then you wonder why you suck.
In an 85 card deck, I might add. Because no one ever, they're always like 60 cards. That's bullcrap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play all the cool cards I got in the one draft that I did.
Yeah, they all cost 5 to 7, and I'm going to play 20 lands. And we only make fun because we've all been there when we first started out. And then eventually you realize, oh, as much as I like this awesome card, I would like to cast some cards throughout the game, so I'm going to put more lands in.
I actually got third place in my first draft ever, and I went to the following Friday Night Magic, and just got rolled by some of these like 12-year-old kids that were there because I was trying to do a Metalcraft mono white type thing.
I'm not sure if I can't remember. Is that Tier 1 or not? I believe, not that it matters, but I believe, is this not a mistake? Yes. Okay. So they figured it out. When you cycle the Solemn through Birthing Pod, the Solemn's trigger resolves first. So Drew should have drawn first before he picked up his deck. So I think he was just shuffling his deck and then take one off the top. Then getting the Thrag Tusk.
On the Friday night level, it's not a huge deal, but
Is he supposed to draw the card off of?
Yeah, he figured it out.
it's as a cost.
Yeah, they figured it out while he was shuffling. So he just shuffled his deck and then drew one randomly. But yeah, the trigger hits when he sacks it, which is bought at the cost. So they figured it out.
Well, I mean, okay, but high level REL, that would have been bad.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, it would be a game rule violation. I'm not sure how they would result. You game loss because you can't repair the game state. So that brief rules. I don't know. I'm struggling tonight. I'm tripping all over my words.
Rules, questioning?
Clarification, I think, is the word, which is actually not that hard to remember, so I don't know why I couldn't come up with it. So we have an appearance by Vince there. We have an immediate O-ring from Drew. I can't tell how many cards Garrett has, but he does not have a board presence whatsoever. He can jump that Thrag Test for quite a while, but I imagine the Thrag Test is going away after combat.
Doesn't look like it gets imaged.
Well, I think it's still going away. Well, no. Would you have done that? Would you have cloned the Thrag Tusk, or would you have gone for your Sun Titan and then copied your Sun Titan?
I'd have probably done well.
I would have probably cast multiple Goblin Guides.
Yeah, well, that's obvious. I was living that dream earlier
One
today.
of the problems I think with both of these decks is there's a real lack of Searing Blaze in Goblin Guide's main deck. In this metagame...
Right there, why wouldn't you just seek out your You said, well, right, that's the reason.
It's almost...
Because I'm a bad player.
Well, what I was going to say is, Garrett's probably played this deck a few more times than you have, so... But that's the thing with these pod decks and the green sun decks, all these silver bullet decks where you have access to a lot of case-specific cards. Like, there's a lot of different... it's like the card Doomsday in Legacy. Are you familiar with Doomsday?
Nope.
It's basically a combo enabler. Basically, you exile your hand, library, and everything. You lose half your life or whatever. But then you get 5 specific cards, and you make a stack of them. That's your new library. And the thing is that Doomsday is very powerful because it sets up certain combo wins. But there's a different Doomsday stack for every iteration. There's just hundreds, in any one deck. It's the same kind of thing to a smaller extent with these decks. You got to know what to fetch at the right time. And
Yeah.
And you were saying instead of doing that, what were you suggesting he do?
Well, I forgot about the second ability there, but I was wondering why he wouldn't just go find the skip your combat phase and just proceed to win the game.
Mm-hmm. He might do that this turn.
He put a Titan on top because he ventured it after he got rid of the O-ring.
He may not like that plan that much. Although, to be fair, also, Drew does have a 2-drop and access to pod, so he could just go get a Fiend Hunter.
That's true. And I guess I haven't seen a Restoration Angel.
I don't think he's playing it, so... if he was playing it at this point, I figure we would have seen it. We've seen a lot of their decks. And I have not seen an Angel.
Online?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually think we haven't seen a Restoration Angel cast all night.
Well, one of the Wright brothers is here.
He's not playing that deck. He's playing a Grixis control deck, which we watched him play against Sam in round 2, which was probably the most boring match of Magic I've ever had on the stream.
Oh, well, that's
what you get when you have control versus control mirrors, and the most important cards are negate and dissipate.
Yeah.
Boring. What can you do?
Play Infect.
It's no personal offense to those individuals. It's just not a brand of Magic that There's about 18 too few Goblin Guides in that matchup for my taste. So, blinkety blink. So we see the Gold Knight Redeemer from Drew, which takes him up to like a gargantuan life total.
Does the blink with a day again.
He loves that play. I think he loves it because it's very effective. Now here, when you bring it back, do you bend the pod? Because you don't want... Drew only has a couple cards in his hand right now. Drew's only got a couple cards in his hand. If he can ultimate Venser, he loves to search for... Again, he obviously has played this deck a lot more than I have, so
yeah, I'm
not going to attempt to say that he's making the incorrect decisions, but sometimes you might get too caught up on one specific side of that. Because there's a variety of cards he can play here. See, now I can get a Fiend Hunter.
I guess the best idea is to just Ultimate Venser, because I think he's at that point.
Oh, he is. I didn't realize he was at 9.
And just Vindicate.
Do you see what he put on top? Is another image.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting deck. I'm very glad that we... Garrett's played here before, but I have not seen him...
He plays a lot of different decks.
But I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm very glad that we... It's not always that the winning in round is necessarily an interesting matchup, but that's fine. So as we see Drew go crazy with infinite stuffs, but like we said, we're going to see a Venser ultimate.
It's just downhill from there. Or not.
He's going to day again.
Yep, good call.
And now he's going to image the Borderland Ranger dies. The Borderland Ranger dies. He didn't use...
No.
Did he not put... He didn't put counters on... So... I need to go out there and tell them this stuff.
You want me to?
Go ask him if he put counters on Venser or if the Borderland Ranger is supposed to die. Because I think it might make a difference, right?
He bounced for sure.
He bounced the Brutalizer XR, didn't he? Yeah, we just had a quick clarification there. He blinked the XR, and then the Borderland Ranger had to die. It's just a simple. It's not that big a deal, but just wanted to make sure. When there's nothing on board like that, it could make a difference. I always have a real difficult time deciding whether or not to go out there and point out a mistake like that, because ultimately you're just trying to do it to make the game fair. You don't want to see anybody like inadvertently get cheated or inadvertently cheat, but at the same time, like I'm not trying to lord over these people. It's not like I'm Big Brother in here with them. But he hasn't been. Has he been using Vincer?
He's been. I mean, he had to swing there to get the.
Well, he's been on 9 for a long time. I would think that you would want to ultimate him as soon as possible, wouldn't you? I don't think it really matters. I mean.
Yeah, I think he just swings in here and
21, 24. He's got 24 damage. That should be 24. 18 from Titans. Get back all these dudes. Draw a car.
Your graveyard.
Ultimate Vincer. I want to see a Vincer ultimate.
It would be nice.
Take out a pod. Oh, he's going to blink. He likes to blink. Yeah, he's going to blink, and then he's going to kill the other pod. And now it's all over, but the
crime.
He does have an O-ring, but unfortunately...
Could be a board wipe in there, too. We don't know how he does them.
I guess the tension sphere at this point would be somewhat reasonable. You get rid of all the Titans. But a very interesting match. Congratulations to Garrett as he makes his way into the top 8.
That actually was really fun to watch.
I mean, those Vincer decks are always very exciting. There's always a wide variety of things that happen. It's always fun to see stuff get blinked. It's just a fun mechanic. So, we've got, I don't know, like 10 minutes left in the round, maybe. I'm going to switch to the studio camera. Are you prepared? Are you going to unlock yourself? I'm switching to it mainly just to see. We've been fighting this audio delay all night. More importantly, I'd like to point out to everyone that I'm currently sporting Steelers gear today. What is a Palomalu? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
What is a Palomalu?
Is it a large hairy beast that dives over...
It is a large hairy beast.
Over offensive lines?
We've talked about it before. I'm going to mention it one more time, just in case anybody hasn't checked it out. For those of you who are watching that are local, West Virginia State is in Beckley this year, as we're joined by Scotty Wright. What's your record, Scotty?
I'm 2-1-1.
Okay, you should make it. West Virginia State is in Beckley. Oh, you need your binder.
I need my binder.
I'm holding Scotty Wright's trade
Thank
binder.
you, sir.
Go get some work done.
All right.
But, so anyway, more importantly than just West Virginia State, if you're in West Virginia or you're near to it, I imagine there's probably going to be, there was 86 people at West Virginia State last year. This year, I imagine there's going to be a little bit less than that because it's in Beckley. It's not in Charleston. Charleston's the state capital. It's where we are. So it's a little bit further out of the way. It's going to be Saturday, October 13th. More importantly, every state and provincial championship will be the weekend of the 13th and 14th. So go to sleeveup.com for more information. Should be fun. We're going to try to stream it. Based on tonight's performance, I'm a little bit disappointed. I don't want to stream it with this audio delay, so I'll have to square that up before. But if you're playing Magic, even if you don't play Tier 1 events, this is literally a format where you can play whatever you want to. It's an untested format, so it's probably worth your time. It's a very fun tournament. What were you going to say?
Sleeveup.com. Are we going to touch on that?
I don't know. I literally don't know. I have no idea why they've chosen sleeveup.com as the moniker for that. In the past, it had been States 2010 or the States 2011. I don't know. The sponsor of the event is not even Sleeve Up. The sponsor of the event is Sun Mesa Activities or Sun Mesa Productions or something out of Arizona. I have no idea. But regardless, you go to sleeveup.com and they will they'll give you more information. And one more plug before we take a quick break here and settle up for the top 8. If you would like to watch any of this stuff, if you are watching the stream live, obviously you know where the Twitch stream is, but if you would like to watch any of the old matches, we've talked several times tonight about some cool plays and old matchups that we've seen on our stream before, so if you would like to check those out, youtube.com/user/Zach Sells Magic. If you just search for Zach Sells Magic, you will find it. But I'm getting trolled in the chat now by people. It's I think I'm getting hit on in the chat, but if you're watching this on YouTube, if you've made it all the way to the end of a YouTube video, which very few people do, but we definitely want you to check us out on our stream live at twitch.tv/Zach Sells Magic. Also, we now have a Facebook page. You can just search for Zach Sells Magic. On Twitter at Zach Sells Magic. Check out Lost Legion's website. Also check out this awkwardly placed, I don't know what it is. It's for a dice company. We talked about it before.
It's unusual elven dice.
Yeah, it's a quasi-erotic, semi-clothed elven woman who has a knife and is playing with dice. So we have a top 8. We've squandered our break yet again. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll bring back with more non-stop FNM action.
Y'all have a good one.